Hey, welcome everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started in just 1 minute. But I just want to make sure that you guys are all seeing me okay and hearing me okay. If you can go ahead and utilize that chat that we have, just let me know that you're seeing my screen, you're hearing me, and that way I can see that you guys are there as well. Awesome. Thank you, Emma. Um, Great. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I really appreciate you all being here. Awesome. Thank you so much, uh, Marquita, Gabriella. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. So I just want to give a quick introduction. My name's Jason. I am the program manager for the UX/UI Foundations program here at Av Academy. And I, again, really appreciate you all joining today. We're going to go over a pretty popular topic in anybody that's looking to get into tech careers on can you get a tech job in under a year? And what we're going to go over today through this presentation is just talking a little bit about breaking into tech, what a career in tech looks like, and then how you can sort of fast track your way into a career in tech. But a little about myself, I come from quite a diverse background. So I started in recruiting. I did a little bit of HR. About a couple of years ago, I was fortunate enough to moved down to Miami. I was able to get an instructional design role, and now I'm here at Av Academy working as a program manager for our UX/UI Foundations program, which we help people get careers in UX/UI design. And just curious, Fiona, thank you so much. I see your comment as well. Where are you guys joining from? I would just love to know where you guys are at, and kind of see where we're all kind of scattered across the country, or maybe even internationally. So if you could just post in there where you guys are from. As I said, I'm down here in Miami, and I up Sarasota, Florida, Emma. So we're not too far away. um, and we have Georgia. Okay, so we're down here in the southeast Chicago. Gabrielle is probably a little bit colder than we are now. I know a lot of frigid weather is sort of making its way across the country, but down here in Miami, I could say we're a little bit fortunate to have this nicer weather. Although it is a little bit cold for us down in the 60s. Oh wow, Fiona's from Canada. That is, I'm sure you're freezing up there. I was actually just in Quebec over the holidays, and it was the coldest I've ever been. So appreciate you joining. And again, thank you all for being here. This is the chat that we're going to utilize throughout this presentation. So I'm glad you guys are able to make use of it. If you have any questions as we're going along, feel free to post in this chat. I'll be happy to answer it. And then at the end of the presentation, I could open up for some more Q&A as well. But so let's go ahead and get started. Again, our topic today is get a tech job in under a year. And, we've got some inside information on how you can sort of fast track your way into a rewarding tech career. So let's jump into it. Oops, sorry. All right. So today we're going to talk about a career in tech, right? The challenges, perceptions, and any opportunities to sort of landing your dream job. So the agenda that we're going to go through today, first and foremost, what is a tech career? We're just going to kind of dive into a high level overview of what a tech career looks like. Then we're going to talk about how we can fast track our way to break into tech. So the first step we're going to talk about is learning the foundations. Once you get those foundations, is to get that real world experience. After you get that experience, apply to jobs. And then can you get started today? We'll go ahead and talk about some different ways that you can go ahead and get started on this journey. So to get to jump into our first agenda item today, is tech a good career choice? What is a career in tech? So a career in tech, how quickly can I join that party, right? We're going to explore the speed of breaking into tech compared to traditional careers. And then I would love for you guys to think as we're going through this presentation, and we're going through the different types of information and opportunities that are out there. Is the path quicker than you think? Is this something that you can see yourself doing? Seriously, if there's any sort of myths or anything that you've heard that you want to kind of discuss that we can, jump into and talk a little bit in more detail, feel free to post those questions in the chat as we're going through this. So I love to start things off with a quote, and you'll see a couple quotes scattered throughout my presentation just to kind of get the mindset thinking of what we're going to dive into. This is from John Dewey, a philosopher. He says, if we teach today as we taught yesterday, we rob our children of tomorrow. And I think this is a really awesome quote to sort of get the mindset right of what we're talking about, breaking into tech and sort of fast tracking. Because when it comes to the tech industry, this is such a different industry compared to traditional career paths that you might think of, because we teach it differently, right? We're not teaching the same as somebody going to college or somebody going to a different academic route. We're teaching tech in a different way, and it's a way that has really increased the use of technology throughout throughout the last couple of years even. So let's keep this mindset. Tech is going to be taught a little bit differently, and there's a reason for that. So when we kind of explore entry between a traditional career and a tech career, it's going to look a little bit different, right? When we talk about entry into a traditional career, it's a lot of times starting with that academic requirement. If you think, maybe going to college, you're in undergrad for about 4 years. If you want to go get a master's, that's extended schooling. If you want to go, to law school or medical school, that's another extended type of schooling. So it's 4+ years just for that academic requirement. Once you get that academic requirement and achieve that academic requirement, you are going to go and start that entry-level job. Once you graduate, from there, it could take several years to sort of climb that corporate ladder. And then once you're, going through that corporate ladder, you're sort of repeating your day, and then eventually you're retiring, which could be, sort of decades down the line. When we talk about entry into a tech career, this is where things get a little bit fast tracked. And if we think back to that quote, this is where, we teach a little bit differently. We don't teach in that traditional sense. We teach in this more modern sense of just acquiring those skills, right? It's not about, learning unrelated topics. It's strictly about acquiring those skills, which can really take 3 to 6 months. It doesn't matter what tech role you might be interested in. Those skills can be learned in about 3 to 6 months. Once you learn those skills, you can go ahead and start those entry-level jobs shortly after learning. It's just a matter of sort of preparing your portfolio, your resume, and how you're going to position yourself to these companies, which we're going to get into in more detail. But after 6 months, you can absolutely get started on that path to that entry-level job. And then the really cool thing about tech that's a little bit different or slightly different from that traditional sense is that you're going to keep learning, right? What you're learning, the skills that you're acquiring are positioning you to get that job. And then once you're in that job, you guys know as well as anybody out there, technology is changing faster than ever. The way that people use technology is changing faster than ever. So you're going to continue to learn, right? As you might be working one job and working on an application, and then all of a sudden things change, people use it differently, and you're going to go ahead and learn the new skills that you need to keep that that application going and those users signed up for whatever platform they're on. So that's the really cool thing about tech is you're sort of just learning those skills that are going to help you get that entry-level job. And then once you're in that entry-level job, it's a matter of just keeping up with technology, which is a really fun industry to get into because you're always learning and growing throughout your entire career, which makes it easier to sort of jump into other positions as well. So here are some just myths, right? Getting into tech is a little bit different because we kind of have these preconceived ideas of what it might be like, how hard it might be. But in reality, tech careers have lower entry barriers and faster entry barriers, and they have similar employment outcomes, right? When you think about traditional route of college, those 4 years, you think that's going to cement me in a job. Whereas learning something in just 3 to 6 months, how can I possibly get hired in such a short period of time? But here are just some awesome statistics from a website called The Best Schools, which sort of digs into tech and college graduates and their employment outcomes. And we can see that 72% of bootcamp grads are just as prepared as students that have computer science degrees. And this is from hiring managers. So this was actually taken from an Indeed survey. If you know what Indeed is, it's where you can go and apply to jobs. Hiring managers said that 72% of their bootcamp grads are just as prepared as somebody who went through a computer science degree. Hiring managers that have hired a bootcamp grad, 99% of them said they would do it again, no questions asked. And then in terms of timeline, breaking into the tech industry, bootcamp grads have been employed after about 180 days. 79% of those who graduate have gotten hired in about 180 days. So just looking at the statistics and thinking about some of your thoughts that you might have had about breaking into the tech field, I'm just curious to hear your thoughts. Go ahead and post them in the chat. What are your concerns or questions, things that you might be a little bit unsure about when it comes to getting a job in tech? And it could be anything. I'm just curious. Go ahead and post that in the chat. I'd just love to hear your thoughts on that. All right. Emma, thank you so much. I can go ahead and pull this up here. I think everybody can see it. So Emma says, I'm concerned coming from a healthcare background, ultrasound tech. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Even with the bootcamp, having no tech experience would hold me back. Great insight right there. And that's a huge thought amongst, everybody who's trying to sort of break into this field, right? What is it like for somebody who doesn't have that tech experience or come from that tech background? And that's a big part of what we're going to talk about today, is that technology has completely changed in a sense that it's not that traditional software companies like Microsoft or Apple. Every single industry is incorporating tech into the way that they do business. And a lot of times the background that you have, especially you, Emma, coming from healthcare, that's a huge plus to a healthcare company because you understand the people that they do business with. So just by learning those tech skills, you have a great chance at continuing in that healthcare industry if you want to, and you're very appealing to different healthcare companies out there because you understand how people work within healthcare and how healthcare companies do business. And that's what's important about tech is customers these days, all customers are pretty much doing their business through an application or a website. And it's up to the people within tech to make those websites and applications usable, enjoyable experiences so they can continue doing business. So that's a great insight. I really appreciate you sharing that. And if anybody else has any other thoughts, go ahead and post that in the chat. But as we can see here, we're just sort of breaking those myths. Employment outcomes are similar, quicker, and sometimes even lower entry than the traditional route. And then what does that lead to? Oh, so sorry, we have another comment. Katie, thank you so much. Concerned about job security with AI. I can go ahead and bring that up as well. So Katie says, concerned about job security with AI being able to do many things for us tech-wise, and it's learning to do more. I'm worried it might take the pool of tech job opportunities smaller. Another amazing insight, and that's something I think we're all a little bit unsure about what the future is going to hold. But what I can tell you, and it's actually really cool, is with the implementation of artificial intelligence, it's just helping people do their jobs in a different way. A lot of times when you're learning tech, you're going to start learning now how to incorporate those AI tools to do your job a little bit better. And then once those AI tools are used, customers are going to be using products that use AI. So you need to be able to work for a company that can help create those experiences that customers would be using with that artificial intelligence in a way that is human-like, right? And machines, AI, as much as they mimic humans, they're not humans. We need people to be able to create those AI experiences for our customers. And that's what's so cool about tech, is it's sort of changing the way that we're going to be able to do, to work. So that's a great insight. Thank you so much, Katie, for sharing that. And again, if you guys have any others, you can go ahead and post them. I'm going to continue to keep going. Gabriella, oh, we have a few more coming in here. Worried about learning a new skill or system. It's not compatible with what employers are looking for. Same opportunity if I don't have a college degree. Yeah, absolutely. So no, these are great insights. And again, we're going to go ahead and sort of talk about how these, thoughts, these barriers that you might think can be, eased, and you can easily get into a role. But just to keep going here, what does that look like when you break in, right? So getting a tech job in under a year and jump into that world of opportunities. Number one, in tech, you're going to get paid well. There's nice paychecks. That average salary right now is around $111,000. And for entry level, we'll see it a little bit later. It could be somewhere, between 70 and 90. And then this is what a lot of you guys were talking about in your comments, right? Tech, learning that skill. I don't have that tech background. Don't have a college degree. Tech is not just about computers. It's about cool ideas, making things better in all kinds of fields, right? To go back to Emma's point about healthcare, you can get somebody who has, been in tech for, quite a long time, but if they don't understand healthcare and the way that they're treating their customers, that's not the best candidate for somebody for a healthcare job. Tech is bringing businesses closer to people, and you need to have that sort of, experience, that way to understand how people, operate within that world, that industry that you're working for, to be able to bring them enjoyable tech experiences. So that's the great thing, is it's not just about computers, it's about cool ideas and getting closer to those customers. And then lastly, tech is flexible. You can work from anywhere without needing a degree. So we talked a little bit about those barriers, those, fears you might have of jumping into something new. Let's go out on a more positive note while we go in here. And again, I would love for you guys to just, post it in the chat. What reward in tech are you most looking forward to, right? We're going to get to your barriers. We're going to get to those, those thoughts that you have about, being a little bit hesitant to break into it. But as we do that, let's think big. Let's dream big. What are you most excited about? What excites you the most about wanting to get into tech? So go ahead and post that. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. And as you guys are writing that, we're going to keep on going here. So a tech job in under a year, the first step is learning the foundations. So just another quote. As I said, I love quotes. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in. This was from Andrew Miller from the Buck Institute. Technology is a simple tool, and we need to remember that, right? Technology is a tool, just like anything else that you guys have done, whether you've played sports or you've, had another hobby, or even just riding a bike. You learn it and then you do it. And that's the same thing with tech. Whether you're, trying to code something or you want to be a UX designer, you learn those skills and then you go ahead and do that. It's the people that make the tech experiences better. So this is just a great quote to keep in mind. Awesome, Emma. Looking forward to flexibility, not living paycheck to paycheck. That's a great one. I love that. And then Fiona had another barrier here. Ageism is rampant. Compared to younger candidates have a graphic design experience, so that would help. Yeah, absolutely. Graphic design, any type of background that you guys have is always useful, and we'll explore that a little bit later on. And then to address your concerns about the ageism, I have seen firsthand, we've had a lot of people go through our program in varying ages, from some right out of high school to others that have been working, for 10, 15, 20 years. And we have not seen, issues with that whatsoever. So, hopefully we can address those concerns. And Fiona, I'm more than happy to talk with you more about that if you'd like to as well. So let's continue going. We're on learning the foundations right now. So a journey towards long-term success, right? Just like building a house, you have to lay a solid foundation, provide that stability, provide that support, and then everything else is going to follow. Similar to tech, it's about mastering those basics, crafting that strong foundation, and then you can have your journey towards advanced knowledge and long-term success. We have another comment in here. from Gabriella, having the flexibility and freedom of working hours. Great goal to work towards, and that's definitely attainable with the tech career. Love that. So let's talk a little bit about learning paths in tech foundations, right? These are some options that you can explore to sort of get into that digital landscape, right? The first one is self-directed. So this is for you if you prefer learning independently. You have good self-discipline, right? Because you're kind of, your own teacher there, right? You're looking at things, you're managing your own time, you're self-directing your learning. A couple of things that you might want to watch out for if you're doing self-directed learning: it requires strong organizational skills, and it doesn't always come with that guidance, right? You're watching something on YouTube, for example, you listen to what the instructor's saying, but you're not going to be able to have time to sort of pass one-on-one questions back with that instructor or a mentor. So these are just some things to look out for if you're doing self-directed learning. Some resources for self-directed: we have YouTube, Coursera, Udemy. These are just some platforms where you can look at different courses. The second one is mentorship. So this is for you if you value personalized guidance from experienced professionals, right? Mentorship is important in any career you might be in, and even just throughout life, right? We're always looking for guidance from people that are experienced in whatever we're trying to go through. So mentorship's a great option for learning tech. Some considerations that you might want to look out for: there's limited availability. It's not always easy to find a mentor in tech, and then prior knowledge may be required, right? Some mentorship requires you to be working in that entry-level role so they can kind of help you. They might not have the time to sort of teach you everything you need to know, but if you have those foundational skills, mentors can help you sort of get to that next level. So that's something to look out for. If you are interested in going through that mentorship route, there's places like LinkedIn where you can send messages to tech professionals, sort of asking them. And then ADP List, which is, if you've never heard of it, it's a great website where you can go on and view mentors and set up some time to talk as well. The third option is online courses. So this is for you if you enjoy structured online learning with flexibility, right? It's going through a course that could be maybe 15, 20 hours long, that sort of break things out into chunks for you. So this is good because you can kind of do it on your own time. Some things to watch out for: it's difficult to align those courses with your career goals, right? If you choose a course on coding, there might be a lot of things within that course that are not really aligning with what you want, but you end up having to take the entire course anyways because you may have purchased it. So the quality also can vary with online courses. You're not really sure what you're getting because you only sometimes are offered a very short sneak peek into what the course offers. Some resources for online courses: Udacity, Coursera, Skillshare, Pluralsight. These are also some good resources to look at. And then the final option is boot camps. So boot camps are for you if you seek a quick, hands-on path to becoming job ready. The reason we say that is because boot camps are going to teach you pretty quickly the skills that you need to become job ready, right? If you're going for UX UI design, you're going to learn those UX UI design skills that are going to be necessary to do the work in the field. You're going to have mentorship through that, and you're going to be able to sort of ask questions and sort of align the curriculum in the way that you might want to be taught. Some considerations to look out for with boot camps: they are intensive, right? They do require some time commitments because you are going through a sort of a rigorous course. So there are some options, right? It doesn't mean you have to sit down 8 hours a day and do coursework, but you do need to commit yourself to about 8 to 16 weeks or something like that to go ahead and get through that program. It does require some research to find the right bootcamp for you. And then, as we mentioned, time commitment. A couple resources: Av Academy, we teach UX UI design here, and then Coding Dojo. And then if you just type in tech bootcamps online, you'll find a bunch of others as well. So these are just some quick learning paths to help you gain those skills, that foundational knowledge we're talking about. I just want to go and advocate a little bit more on why choosing boot camps to learn foundations is a really good option for you, right? Bottom line, if you're switching careers or want to start a tech job fast, boot camps are the way to go because they're going to teach you hands-on. It's not going to break the bank, and you'll likely land a good paying job within 6 months. The reason that boot camps work a little bit better than some of those other options, so if I go back real quick, they're going to offer all three of these things in one program, right? You're going to have self-directed learning because the boot camps are going to be online. So you're going to be able to sort of figure out when the best time is for you to do that work. Mentorship is usually involved with boot camps. I know at Av Academy, we offer unlimited one-on-one mentorship throughout our programs. I know a lot of other boot camps do the same. And then online courses, it's going to be the same thing as online courses, but it's more personal. It's not just purchasing a course and seeing what happens. It's going to be very personal, very related to your career goals. So a couple of things with boot camps for you guys to consider. You will learn those tech basics in about 2 to 6 months. They're going to focus on practical skills that are making you job ready through hands-on projects. Again, you're going to have that ability to sort of learn and apply those skills. It's perfect for cost-effective, focused training. Some tuition for boot camps can be as low as $3,000. There's a lot of financing options available as well. You're going to benefit from those experienced mentors who are sort of guiding your learning and then sharing those valuable insights, right? Those mentors have been working in the field. They know what it takes. And a lot of bootcamp mentors were previous bootcamp grads. They just love to give back to that community. So you're sort of shaping that community. And then it's ideal for career changers, those aiming for specific tech jobs, offering quick and immersive learnings. When you go through a bootcamp, you're learning exactly what you need to be able to get into that entry-level job. So just a couple of different options for what paths that you guys might want to be on. Number one, so these are some good job titles to look at to sort of help you break into tech. Number one is data analysis. So if you want to be a data analyst, you're sort of unlocking secrets. You're like a detective that's finding those patterns, right? If you've ever gone on Amazon and you notice that as soon as you log onto that home screen, it's saying products for you, or we recommend this. That is what a data analyst does. They look at your sort of customer history and they recommend things to you through previous purchases or things that you've looked at or reviews that you made. That's what data analysis can do. Developers, that's somebody who can build that online world. They're the ones who are doing the coding that are making those applications and those websites come to life, right? When you click on a button to request a ride from Uber, a developer is making that happen. A UX UI designer, this makes apps easy as well as websites and cool to use. You're like an artist sort of creating enjoyable experiences. So designers are there to make sure apps are easy to use and enjoyable to use. If you've ever used an app or gone on a website and you're so confused and you have no idea what's going on and you kind of just leave that website, a designer probably wasn't involved. Anything that you go on that has a good experience, that's what a UX designer does. And then the last thing is a product manager. This is somebody who sort of steers the ship. They sort of rope all of these three roles together. You're kind of like a manager who guides new products, works with data analytics, works with developers, works with designers to make sure that that product is meeting the customer needs. And you're also talking to business stakeholders to make sure it's going through their needs as well. So these are just a couple of jobs to look at that are going to help you break in. Gonna go back to you guys really quick. Which one of these four is something that interests you the most? Do you have any ideas in mind about what path you'd like to go to? I'd love to share and kind of see where you guys are at. So go ahead and post that in there. I'm just curious to hear, which career you might be interested in most. Data analyst and UX designer. Awesome. Thanks, Guillermo. That's a really that's really cool actually, because these two things kind of can be combined, right? In UX design, it's not one aspect of it is designing applications and websites. Another aspect is research, where you're going through, where you're talking to customers, talking to users. You're trying to understand their behaviors, and then you're taking those behaviors, you're analyzing them, and using that data to create an enjoyable experience within that application. So that's really cool. These two things work very well together. And UX research is a huge part of design, which is very data focused. And that's, wow, this is a lot of you today. Gabriella, same thing, data analyst designer. Emma, UX design for sure. Acting, modeling on the side of ultrasound. That's so cool. That's creative. Yeah, this is absolutely that, right? I was just talking about the research side with data. Another side of UX design is the user interface, right? So somebody who's crafting the way the application looks and the way that the screens look. That's a very creative side of this. And I love where your head's at right now with shaping websites and apps and making experiences better for people. That is awesome. And then Fiona, another one with UX design and data analysis. This is really cool. I love the enthusiasm that you guys have in these tech careers. So we'll go ahead and keep on going. One final thing on bootcamp grads, just for you guys to know. I know I'm advocating for this, but it's really a great way to sort of break into the field. You will get a 51% salary increase. This is according to Course Report. If you've ever heard of Course Report, they kind of take information from all the different boot camps out there and analyze the way that the graduates are progressing and reviewing those courses. So most of the time, you're going to get a 51% salary increase from going through a boot camp. 80% of graduates said they've been employed in a job requiring skills learned at that boot camp. Average salary when you graduate is about $70,000. And then that's just in the first year. After 1 year of working in that entry-level role, that salary can jump from 70 to 90K just by going through that 1 year of experience and maybe looking for another role or looking for promotion or something like that. So so you can see that 24K salary lift. That's what can happen pretty quickly after your first year from a bootcamp employment. So these are just some things to note. These statistics are there. The other ones with self-directed and online courses, it's a little bit more difficult because, again, you're not really sure what skills you're supposed to be learning. Whereas when you go to boot camps, you're learning those skills and talking to mentors. Awesome. Those stats the same for Fiona. Are those stats the same for Canada? I cannot speak to that completely, but I can tell you that we do have students in our program, at least for Avo Academy. We do have quite a few students over in Canada that are going through the coursework and seem to be making some good progress. What I would recommend, maybe if you wanted to check out Course Report, where we get that information from, you might be able to find some information on that as well. But I do know I've seen a lot of tech heavy roles coming out of Canada as well, so that might be something to think about. But great question. So as we continue, right? We've talked about the real world experiences, we talked about learning the foundations. After you learn those foundations, the next thing you want to do is get that real world experience, right? So that is putting your knowledge into action, right? Think about this. After you learn the basics, think about if you've ever read a recipe on online about something you want to cook. You read that recipe, you understand it, you know what it says, but then it's one thing to actually go and do it. And the first time you do it, you might not make it as best as you can, right? If you're baking, the first time you try baking a cake, it might not come out as good as the second, third, or even fourth time. So that's exactly what it takes to sort of break into tech, is learning and then applying. So it's taking that knowledge into action, right? Real world projects make your learning practical. It's connecting your ideas to real life, and it's getting better through projects. Doing real things with your knowledge not only makes you better, but helps you understand things way more, right? When you get into an interview, if you've gone through courses and just learned, when you get into that interview, you're going to have a really hard time explaining yourself and answering their questions because you didn't do it. But when you're actually doing it and applying that knowledge, you can share those experiences in that interview, and it's going to, go a long way in helping sell yourself for that job. So step one, foundation. Step two, applying that real world knowledge. And here's some different paths that you can take to apply your tech skills, right? Once you kind of learn tech and learn whatever career path, the skills that you're interested in going into, here's some options that you can look at. Freelancing. So what is freelancing? It's using your tech skills to do paid tasks for others. A couple of things that you want to look out for with freelancing. As a beginner, it requires strong self-awareness of what you can do. Just because you've learned something and you're getting hired to do it, sometimes when you're freelancing, they don't really do their due diligence, and it may be difficult to understand exactly what that client wants, and it might not be your strong suit just yet. So freelancing can be a little bit tricky and also difficult to balance that job and learning on your own, because there are deadlines for that job, but you still might have to learn a few things. So be very careful when you want to look at freelance. Open source projects. Open source projects are it's pretty cool. It's where anybody can sort of help out on a tech project, right? It's out there for the community. Anybody can kind of go in there. It's a lot of times you see it through coding. UX design has some as well, where you just improve projects with a community of other people. The thing to look out for with open source projects is there's a lack of support and structure that can make it difficult to build confidence. So if you go in and you chip in a little bit and put in some effort into this community project that is being worked on in that open source project, you can come back on the next day and see everything that you did has been completely overwritten without an explanation why. So not every time are you going to get that support that you might need to understand if you're doing something the right way, or ways that you might need to do it a little bit differently. The third one are hackathons. Hackathons are really cool. You might have heard the term, from time to time, but this is an event where people work together intensely on tech projects. So you can get into a room of people. There's going to be a project to work on. They're going to split you into teams, and then it's sort of just go, go, go. Sometimes they can last, 24 hours, 48 hours, just continuing to work with your team to solve for problems. And sometimes it's even a competition, right? At the end of the hackathon, the team that comes up with the best, most innovative solution could win a potential prize. So it's a really cool way for you to understand what it's like to work on a team, showcase some of your skills and practice some of your skills. A couple things that you might want to look out for when it comes to hackathons is it works at a very fast pace with limited scope. They sort of give you the challenge, they give you the problem, and you're just sort of working on a team without really understanding, too much, without much preparation or guidance. And sometimes, your team can be working a little bit quicker. And if you don't have the right knowledge, it can be hard to sort of give input, and you could just be, sitting there. So hackathons are great, but you want to make sure you're doing the right research to know it's good for you. And the last one are bootcamp client projects. So when you go through a bootcamp, a lot of times you're going to spend the first few weeks or first couple months learning the skills on your own project. And then after that, once you graduate through that foundation, you can go ahead and work with client projects. So these, I know I can speak for Avocademy. What we have is we have our students in our Career Jumpstart program that have learned foundations, graduated foundations. We put them on teams, and we partner up with small businesses or nonprofits that need help with UX UI design. And we have our students working on a team, applying what they've learned, and actually delivering something for a client that is to be used by a small business or nonprofit. And the whole way through that project, you have a mentor that's sort of helping you support with any questions, helping you through those challenges that you might have while working for that client. A couple of things to look out for with bootcamp client projects is there is, just like bootcamps, a commitment to your time and to your team, right? You are working with a team of other students. All of you have a goal of trying to practice your skills. If you're not being a team player, it could kind of sour and go over poorly with your team members. So you do need to make sure that you can commit to your team as well as your clients. This is real work that you're going to be delivering to your clients. But again, it's in a structured environment, an environment where you can get some really great support from these mentors, and also work in different roles like a UX researcher on one project, a design lead on another project, and things like that. So it's a really fun, structured environment to sort of practice those skills and build your portfolio. And just to sort of talk a little bit more about the way that we help with client projects, and I know a lot of other boot camps, we'll do similar things as well. Employers value practical experience, so your portfolio is going to tell a compelling story of your journey and your capabilities. When you the way that we help you sort of elevate those employment outcomes is diversifying that portfolio. Every project that you work on is going to be in your portfolio to showcase your skills and what you did to an employer that you're looking to hire. So these portfolios will give you a couple of different projects to show your skills and how you can adapt to different client needs. There's going to be team dynamics. So there's going to be the ability to collaborate on multiple projects and show that you can work well with others. And then, of course, there's expert guidance. You're going to receive valuable mentorship to help work through project challenges and improve your learning. With Avocademy, our statistics show 95% of students land jobs working with Avocademy teams that go through our CJ program and complete their requirements. And the average time to land a job is about 122 days. So that's what I can speak for. I know other boot camps have similar methods of working on these real client projects as well. Awesome. So before we get into the final section of this presentation, I just wanted to send a quick survey to you guys just to kind of get your thoughts and hear where you guys are at. So I'm going to go ahead. You can scan this if you're on a computer. If you're working off of your cell phone, what I can do is put the link in the chat here for you guys. But once you fill out this survey, just a pretty cool offer that we're running here is $250 off of our foundations program. So, appreciate your help, just giving some feedback, and then give you a little bit of a reward as well. But we're going to jump into the last section in just a minute. I just posted that link in the chat for you guys. So you can go ahead and click on that survey and share your thoughts. All right. And then, of course, if you have any questions as I'm going along here, feel free to post that in the chat, and I'll be sure to answer that for you as well. But now we've made it to our last section, which is start applying to tech jobs, right? We've learned the foundations. We've got that real world experience. Now the time is to start applying to tech jobs. So how do we do that? How do we get ready to launch that career? It's these three things. Is number one, portfolio prep, right? You might have heard the term portfolio before, and I'll show you an example in just a little bit. But a portfolio is going to be a collection of your projects, your skills, and what you've learned. This is how, when you're applying to, let's say, a UX design job, a hiring manager can go in and see your portfolio, the work that you've done, and sort of your process behind designing what you may have designed. So it's a really cool way for you to showcase your skills. The second is interview practice, right? We need to gain confidence to explain our skills and experiences. A lot of us are coming from an industry outside of tech, which is a big plus, but you need to be able to explain it the right way, right? I believe it was Emma that was saying you're from healthcare. So going into a tech role, explaining your healthcare experiences and those skills that you learned is going to go a long way in bridging that to the tech skills that you have, because that can make you very, very valuable to somebody who might be designing something for ultrasound technology, or the way that doctors interact with these machines now. Designers are involved, so that can be a really, really good way to bridge your prior experience to what you've just learned. But you do have to practice that. And then lastly, finding your job. Look for jobs that match what you can do. This, again, I go back to that because if it's something that you've worked in the past or something that you're really passionate about, that's a great way for you to connect your prior experiences, your prior work history, or your prior passion or current passion into a tech job that focuses on that. And that's where tech careers extend beyond software companies, right? As I said earlier in the presentation, it's not just the traditional Microsoft, it's not the traditional Apple or Google. Tech is in almost every single product that we use today. Almost every single company that we know of today is integrating tech in their products, right? So that's where passion meets work. If you love cars, you can work with them in tech. I don't know if you've ever heard of an app called Turo, where you can sort of rent cars, almost like Uber, but you're sort of just renting the car for the day. If you love cars, you love the variety of cars and how they appeal to other people and how they might appeal to you, that would make you a great candidate for Turo, because you're building that technology with the user in mind. Somebody who might want to rent, an Aston Martin or a Ferrari or something like that can rent it from this application, and you can build that experience that appeals to them. And that's what's so cool these days, is that every company is using tech in a way that appeals to their users, so you can put your passions into your career. So I got a couple questions. I'm going to pause for just a second. We only have a few more slides here. Emma says, a new computer before starting the boot camp, Mac or Windows, and laptop or desktop. So any computer works. All of the programs, I know that I can speak for Avo Academy, that we use will work on both Mac or Windows. Mac can be a little bit more user-friendly for design. And I know sometimes if you're going into coding, people prefer Windows, but both will work for this program, and you can't go wrong with either one. Gabriella, how long are your boot camps typically? If I remember correctly, there's also courses with Avo Academy. Yep, absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and show you that in just a minute, Gabriella. So I appreciate the question. We're going to get into that very shortly. And actually, we're here now. So just to kind of talk about changing careers, the Surge in Tech has created this new diverse career opportunity. This is Andrew. He was one of our previous students. He was in construction for a very, very long time, but he wanted to change. He wanted that flexibility that a lot of you all mentioned previously. And he committed to our program. He went through Foundations, Career Jumpstart, and he was able to break in, and now he works as a product designer for PepsiCo. So let me really quickly show you an example of what we helped Andrew achieve. And Gabrielle, I'll answer your question as well. I just need to switch my screen sharing. Sorry about that. Perfect. Okay. So make sure you're all seeing this okay. Cool. Okay. Sorry about that. So here, when you look at the way that we'll teach you those foundations and help you gain that real world experience, when we look at our foundations program, it's an 8 to 6 week curriculum. So this is 8 to 16 weeks of learning those skills to become a UX UI designer. You're going to have mentorship, and then you're also going to be able to build out your portfolio, right? You're going to end foundations with one project that can be put into your portfolio. And here's just a couple of companies that our students have been hired by. So you can see a lot of big names in there: Amazon, CVS, GM, Oracle. So, the list goes on, because again, tech is in almost every single industry. And our curriculum goes through intro to UX UI, and it kind of helps you through that entire design process. And then you end with a portfolio building course. Once you've finished the foundations, if you're interested in going into Career Jumpstart, this is, totally up to the student. That's where you're going to learn the advanced knowledge to work on real world projects. So just let me see if I can find a timeline here. Yeah. So it starts with just a quick 2-week refresher to sort of build on your foundational skills. And then once you finish that advanced course, you're going to jump right into real client projects where you're working with a team. You're going to be working on anywhere between 2 and 4 projects for small businesses or nonprofits to help sort of shape those skills. Working on teams and making designs happen for other companies. Mentorship will also be provided throughout this entire process to help you work through any challenges that you might have, and deliver the best result to the client. And then we're also going to offer job search help as well. So you're going to get help building your portfolio. You're going to get help building out your resume and interview practice. You're going to be able to go one-on-one with um, with uh, with a mentor to prep for any interviews you have coming up. Guillermo, everyone is eligible for Career Jumpstart after the bootcamp. Great question. I can't say for certain everyone, but if you go through foundations and uh, take the guidance and the program and really put some effort into it, that's going to go a long way in helping you get into Career Jumpstart. We would typically accept our students right into this program from going through foundation. So absolutely, you can go right from foundation to Career Jumpstart if that's something you're interested in. And then lastly, there's help with salary negotiations and offers. And then there's always a community that you'll be with, right? You'll have access to this. Emma, is Career Yes, to answer your question, Career Jumpstart is separate. Again, with different options, financing options, and sometimes payment at graduation, so you don't have to put anything up front. And there's I'm going to send a link for you guys to speak with a career advisor after this call to schedule something if you'd be interested in learning more. And those career advisors will talk you through much more information that can be very helpful to answering questions on financing and questions on timeline and things like that. But here is what it kind of will look like when you finish learning and building a portfolio. And again, if you're interested in other careers besides UX UI design, portfolios are going to be very similar in a sense of showcasing your skills. So if you went into a coding bootcamp, for example, they'll help. I'm sure those bootcamps would help build your portfolios as well. But here is just an example of what that looks like. So this was Patrick. He was one of our students, and he got into a job at Xerox. And this is his portfolio now. So you put on here any projects that you might have worked on, and any whether it was with a team or a solo project. So we'll go ahead and click on this, just so you guys can see. It was called Vibin. It's a platform that allows users to host and join activities within their area. So you can see what it kind of looks like. Gives a really cool overview on the design process and what the problem was and what the solution became. And this is a client that they worked for that just didn't have a brand identity. Their website didn't really provide users with a great experience. So they came to us and they said, hey, can you put your design team and help us out? And our design team, through Career Jumpstart, was able to create this really awesome solution, a total redesign of their website. And this is kind of what it looks like. So you can see just all the different screens and how nice it looks, and kind of taking their current product and totally redesigning it for a better experience. And then you can see here the portfolio goes into the entire design process of how they built this. They started with research, they ideated, they designed, and there was a developer hand up. Fiona, I see you can't see the portfolio. Oh, very weird. Let me try that again. Yeah, I'm noticing now on the screen, it's not. That's why it popped up in the phone. Okay, very sorry about the technical issue there. Thank you, Fiona, for jumping in. But really quickly, I'll just kind of go through that. This was, as I stated, a company that was having trouble making a good user experience for their website. They came to us, and this is what they kind of helped them create. you can see a total redesign of their website here. And then it walks through the entire process. So from their research to analyzing different competitors to sort of just exactly how they helped build this redesign, and then they go into the design process, how they actually designed it. You can see these are just sort of mock-ups, and then the colors they chose. So this is what a portfolio does. It sort of walks through your project every step of the way, and eventually showing the prototype that you guys would have come up with. So when you are working on building your portfolio and you go through Career Jumpstart, you're going to have 2 to 4 different projects that you can put in there that are going to sort of help explain to a hiring manager how you work through the design process and what your skills are, as well as some of your past experiences. I know we're at time, so I just want to take a couple minutes to wrap up here. But as we stated throughout, this is something that is totally attainable within under a year. You saw the statistics. A lot of people are breaking into tech in just 6 months, getting those foundational skills, getting that real world experience, and then working on your portfolio, your resumes, and applying to jobs is all you need to do to break into it. And then your career will kind of take off from there. So I really appreciate all of your time today. Thank you so much for your questions and insights. You guys asked amazing questions. You shared some great insights about your myths. I hope we were able to break them down and sort of release that fear of taking the next step and getting into a career that might be right for you. And then we talked about a few different paths as well. You'll all receive a recording of this. I think at some point tonight or tomorrow, if you need to come back to it. And then I'm going to post in the chat a link if you want to talk to one of our career advisors about really anything. They're more than happy to talk to you about anything that you guys might want to talk about. You can go ahead and schedule that through the link that I just shared in the chat as well. Before I sign off, go ahead, ask any questions. We'll open it up for open Q&A. Anything that you guys might be curious about, I can go ahead and try and answer as best I can. And if not, I'll be happy to follow up with you, afterwards. I'll go ahead and just give it a minute for you guys to write in. Awesome. Thanks, Guillermo. I really appreciate your time. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions come through, so feel free to jump. I'll hang on here just another minute or two to see if any questions come through the chat. If not, again, you guys will get this presentation emailed to you if you need to go back for any other information, and you have the link there for scheduling a call with the career advisor. And then don't forget of the survey. We appreciate any insights and feedback you can give us. And then there's also a little coupon out there as well. But we've reached our time. So again, I'll hang on just another minute. I didn't see any other questions come through. So I'll wait another minute or two. Otherwise, you're all great, good to drop off. And just really appreciate you all joining me today. And I hope I could share some good insights on how you can break into tech in under a year. And it's totally doable. Thank you all. Awesome. All right. Thanks everyone. Have a great night.